And joining us now right here is Dr. Sunita Narain. She's Director of CSE. Thanks very much for joining us. A very important report. You've said a total stop on ports. Will they implement this? Now, that's the next worry.
Well, I think it's very critical, and we were very happy to hear that the ministry said that they accepted our recommendations.
Right.
The recommendations are in two parts. We're not saying a moratorium forever.
Right.
We're saying moratorium pending a careful study to understand the cumulative impact of ports. The point that I think all of us are very worried about is that one port, yes, but one port and then another port and then another
Every
port.
10 miles
Exactly, and nobody understands what's the cumulative impact.
Right.
What are those series of ports? What is the impact of those on the beaches? And I think for the first time, the ministry has accepted.
So you've had total support from the Environment Ministry.
Absolutely. Now I think we all need to ask the ministry how soon will the study be done, because
Implemented.
and then implemented,
Right.
because clearly there is a huge issue as well about, ports are cleared at different levels in India. So as the report said, you have major ports which are done at the central government level, minor ports which are done by the state government, private ports which are cleared by the state governments.
Right.
And every fishing harbour could become a port tomorrow as expansion
I mean,
happens.
it's ridiculous. You should have maybe 20 ports in India. We already have 180. Even that, we don't know how many we have.
Well, we don't know how many we have, and we don't know how many we need, actually.
Right.
Nobody is against ports. Nobody is against export-oriented economies per se,
Right.
but you're simply saying have a rational policy so that you maximize on the ports that you have, you use them as efficiently as possible.
And one more thing, Sunita, that these ports that exist, 180, most of them are uneconomical, they're not doing well, they're just kind of killing our coastline.
Well, it's difficult to generalize because a lot of people will say, well, that's only because of recession today and tomorrow they'll all pick up. I don't think that's the issue. The issue really is what is the policy for ports in India,
Right.
and what is the impact of the ports on beaches? Clearly, nobody who wants to build a port wants an impact on their port by another port, which simply means you need a better policy.
Right. Now, a port, once you, even a small port, the beach dies in 3 to 6 months. It just disappears. How long will it take back if some of this is reversed? Does it take a long time, or it can be, we can have beaches and the villages along the coastline can have good water again?
Well, I have not seen any case of restoration of beaches in India as yet. There is talk about restoration of beaches in places like Florida. But it's a very expensive exercise.
But I do believe that the Pondicherry port, which is a disaster of the worst order, and a very strong campaign there, they've met the Minister, Jairam Ramesh, and he is going to try and restore that beach. Is that possible?
Well, I think it has to be tried. Right. And it has to be tried seriously. We must make sure that if we have destroyed something completely mindlessly, we must at least try and restore it. It'll cost us money. Perhaps that'll teach us not to make the mistake again.
Right.
But we have to try it. I think the big issue for all of us now is that if we have accepted the fact that there is an impact of ports on our beaches, if we've accepted the fact that beaches are critical for livelihood.
Could you explain that a little more? I know this...
Well, I think you did a very good job in explaining. The fact is that beaches are like filters. Beaches are your safeguards. They help to recharge water. They help to make sure that you get the right, if you get a storm, you get another tsunami, your beaches make sure they're like bioshields.
Crucial for fishermen as well, and the whole fishing community along the coast.
Absolutely. I think we have this image that beaches are for sunbathing. Beaches are an elitist thing.
That's the least
I think
of
we
it.
need to really review that, because beaches are critical for survival of millions of people who depend on them.
Millions of people, that's the point. Apparently
people.
30% of people live along the coastline.
And I think that's
30%. That's huge.
That's the trade-off we need to talk about, is that for port, if we are destroying the livelihoods of so many people, is it worth it?
Right. Sunita, thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on an excellent report. And I hope it is implemented.
I hope so too.
A lot of work. You've done work on this for years.
No, I think the groups, the citizens groups, and I think NDTV, for highlighting this issue, that's what we need to make sure. We need to keep this issue in public focus.
And hope that Jairam Ramesh and others actually implement, which they seem to be doing.
Which they seem to be doing.
Right, now, thanks very much.